Hello everyone, in this video we're going to explore Java and JDBC. I'm going to show you a simple CRUD example with Java, JDBC and PostgreSQL. Approach which I'm going to show you today will work with MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle DB, every relational DB. So for this purpose I prepared simple Java project and I also prepared a simple table, books table. It has only 3 fields: ID, title and pages count. I prepared a database BooksDB. So in this video we're going to connect our Java application to the BooksDB database and execute CRUD statements under books table table. So let me just show you this approach. Firstly, we need to download a JDBC driver for our database. As we use a PostgreSQL database, we need to find a Postgres JDBC driver. Let's navigate to Google and try to find the library. I just enter Postgres JDBC and select the first link which shows me my Google. I'm not using a Maven or Gradle or some other build tools for Java in this video, so I'm going to just connect this library as simple jar file. So I download, let me check, let me navigate back and check the next version. Yeah, and I'm going to download this link. It shows you that this file can harm your computer, but that's because it's a jar executable and Google reacts on every jar executable which you download. So let's just click keep and connect our library to our application. I select project structure, I select libraries, and hit add Java and try to find my library, PostgreSQL library, and I click OK. And that's the only dependency I'm going to use for this video. So let me just create packages. Firstly, we create a model package, which is going to store our model, books model. Secondly, let's create a DAO package. And let's create a main package. In the model, we create a books model. Here we create just 3 fields. ID, title and pages count. And let's just generate getters, setters, equals, hash code and toString methods. And toString method to be able to system out our object and see it pretty in the logs. And that's it with our model. I selected different types of fields like string and integer to show you how to work with JDBC and different Java objects types. So let's create a DAO. Firstly, we create an interface and call it books DAO. What is DAO actually? It's database access object. So it's just an object which is going to have an access to our books. And let's create a couple of methods. It's going to retrieve all books, find all. Actually, we're going to get the book by ID. We also going to save the book. And the last one is delete. We're going to delete by ID. And let's create a books DAO implementation. And let's just implement all our CRUD methods using JDBC. So firstly, to be able to access statements, we need to get the connection to the database. So let's just create a method, public connection. All the operations which we need for our database are in the Java SQL package. And Java SQL connection is a class in JDBC which is going to retrieve the connection to the database. In this video, I'm not going to show you some stuff like connection pool, etc. Maybe in the next section I show you this, but today I just show you how easily connect your application to the database using JDBC without any connection pools. Let's call it get connection, and we can make it static, and we can just click return driver manager, which is also in the Java SQL package, and it has get connection. Get connection accepts URL to the database, it accepts user and password. And that's it. This is how we retrieve the connection. We need to surround this statement with try catch. And the suggestion is following: don't leave catch statements by default as generated your IntelliJ IDEA, because you can just ignore the catch statements. Let's just, in this example, system out some error message. And just system out the reason why can't we get the connection. And in case we haven't received the connection, just return nothing, just null. So we need to provide an URL, username and password. I just get the credentials from my IntelliJ. But you can just provide it yourself. All you need is specify JDBC at the first, then you need to specify a database. If you use MySQL database, just specify here MySQL. Then if you host your database on local computer, just put here localhost and a port which your database is listening. By default for the Postgres is 5432. For MySQL, as far as I remember, is 36 to zeros or something like that. And we need to specify a database also. So it's books DB. I'm going to specify my user and password. In the real projects, it's unsafe to store such credentials in the code, so it's better to store these credentials in the external file. But maybe in some tutorial I show you how to use external files to connect to your Java. In this video we're going to store our credentials just in Java code, hard-coded as shown in this example. So we have a connection and we can execute our statements. So let's create a first statement. Select all. You should know some SQL to be able to execute these statements using JDBC. It's very easy language. If we want to select all the books in our books table, we just print like select ID, title, pages count from books table, and that's it. We are not going to specify where clause or something like join table. We can specify we can just keep specifying all the fields and place like this sign, but I decided to specify fields. And next we're going to execute this select in the find all. So let's create a list, an empty list of book model. And then we just return our books. And between those two statements, we're going to fill our list of books with books which we retrieved from the database. We use prepared statement equals connection get prepared statement. We use get connection to retrieve the connection and get the method prepare statement, which accepts the SQL statement. We also need to surround our prepare statements with try catch. I don't suggest you to leave this catch without any combination. Let's just system out an error message. Something like that. And then we can call prepared statement execute query. And prepare statement execute query returns us a result set. And result set contains our results. So we can just loop through the result set and get our pages, get our books from the result set. So I just print while result set has next. We just create a new book. And and we just grab the fields from the result set. ID is going to be on the first result, so we're going to have result set get int first integer title equals result set get string, because we expect that our title is a string on this second one, and string, and the last one is pages count equals result set get integer. Actually, result set get in getString is overloaded method. It can accept as numbers as a position of the field. It also can accept the title of the field. So let's just place pages count here instead of third param, and it will work because it can also grab your result set, your field by field name, not also by field position. So, and we can just set books model, set ID, books model, set title, and books model set pages count as pages count. Actually, we could skip those variables and place the results just in the setters, but I decided to show you the detailed step-by-step approach for this result set get int and get string. So we have our book model created, and we add it to the books, and that's how we selected all the books from the database. And after we executed all the statements, we need to close the connection, because it's really important to close it, as it's unsafe to leave open connections in your application, because it gets some resources, hardware resources, and you need to close the connection to save your resources for your application. So let's just create a method to close the connection. Connection has close method which closes its. So let's just surround with try catch, and yeah, we can leave these catch statements as it is. And next we're going to get the connection to the variable, something like that. And replace this connection with get connection. In case we have some error, we need to close the connection in the catch statement. And we also need to close it in case we don't have any SQL statement, catch statement, but we need to close it in the end of the method. And we need to call close connection in every method after we executed our statement. So the next one is find by ID. Let's prepare some statement. And when we place a question mark, we just say that we want to replace this question mark in the prepared statements. I show you how. So let's just get the connection the same way as we did previously. Let's just copy paste everything. But in this scenario, we're going to return only one book. So let's just create book model. Calls new book model. And return. Actually, we can just set it as null. And we're going to return a book model. And we are going to get the connection and create prepare statements, but this time we're going to place find by ID statement. And in the prepare statements, we're going to replace with this question mark with our ID. So we just call prepare statement set int, and we're going to set the position in which our question mark is, because we can have not only one but multiple question marks in our statement, SQL statement. So we're going to say the position of our question mark. This position is 1 for this example, so we're going to say 1 and the ID instead of question mark. And the last thing we need just to get the result set and create a books model, but instead of creating this one new, we just get this books model, place new books model, and we just need to we already have an ID, so we just need to get only the title and the pages count. So let's just change this example to have only numbers, but this example will have string which describes the title of the field. So it's title, and that's it. And let's just change the error message while getting book by ID, something like that. And next method is save. So let's just prepare the statement for the save method. It's going to call insert into books table title. We have want to increment ID field, so we need just place title and pages count. And we're going to insert into books table in the title and pages count values with question mark. So we just need to replace with this question mark. So we navigate to our save method and we just, let me just get the connection. We prepare statement. We need to surround our prepare statement with try catch. and we need to specify the placeholders for our question marks. Firstly, we need to set string for the title. And secondly, we need to set pages count. And we need to execute update. Please note that we call execute update instead of execute query. This execute update executes and updates statements, while the execute query selects statements. Execute update also returns us an ID of our record. So we just a minute. We can specify this ID in the ID of our books model. And we can return our books model. It will return the books model with ID generated by database. And the last one is delete statement. We do everything and is the previous example. So let's just execute the connection, get the connection and execute the delete statement. So we get connection, we just put delete statement to the prepared statement. We just set ID on the first on the question mark, and we just execute update, and we don't return anything in this method. So that's how we deleted our entity. Now let's try to check it out. How does it work? And let's navigate to the main package and create a main class. Let's create a simple public static void method. Let's create a books DAO. So let's navigate to our books table. Here we have two books with ID 2 and 4. So let's just try firstly select all the books, then just get the one by ID 2. And then just try to insert some and delete. Let's navigate to our main method and sound something like that. Books DAO find all, and let's just system out loop through the books model and system out all the books from the database. For those of you who doesn't familiar with Java and Lambda and Stream API, it's just a modern way to loop through the list of objects and system out them. You may think of using such approach like for each approach as you used in the previous versions of Java before Java 8, but I prefer the modern approach like this one. So let's just divide our calls with like this mark and south find by ID demo. And let's just system out books down find by ID, and we have record with ID 2, and we expect that we receive angels and demons. So let's just prepare our book for the save. Let's just set title, like for example, new book, and pages count something like 3 to 4, and let's try to save our book. And let's just divide our call, and the last one is delete the book. And let's just delete book by this ID. Let's just run our application and see if it works as we expect. Okay, here we have our select all. We also have an exception, find by ID, column ID does not exist. We also have our save record work fine. Let's just check our books. Null pointer exception. So let's just check it out. We have a null pointer. It looks like we don't have a pages count. Let's navigate to our main, and yeah, we just place system out instead of books model. Set pages count. Yeah, and the next one, error, why getting book by ID, column ID does not exist. Find by ID looks fine. Let's just check the find by ID statement. Select ID title pages count. Yeah, we forgot to specify the table. And now it looks okay. Let's just try to run our application once again. And here we go. We have our select all. We have our find by ID works fine. And we have save record. Let's just navigate to the table. And yeah, we see our new book. And we also see that our book with ID 2 successfully deleted from the database. So guys, that's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Goodbye.